about loving yourself. Now listen, someone the other day, in another space actually, kind of criticized me for talking about how I was sharing about how we can be under pressure. And they were actually telling me how ungodly it was that I talk about being under pressure when I should just be happy-go-lucky and free with nothing going on, and that God would not like that. And I just thought, honestly, I just thought that was kind of amusing, to be quite frank. And the reason I thought it was amusing is because this is kind of a Bible thumper I was talking to, so they were just a little religious with me. No one really in here, to be clear. Anyhow, interesting. And I thought about the apostles, and I thought about the life they lived and how we don't have to live that life true, but they lived by the power of the Holy Spirit. They lived a life where if you left your home, you may not come back. That was some pressure. I have thought to myself before, I wonder if that's why they talked about giving each other a holy kiss. Because they didn't know when they would see each other again. There was true persecution then for following the person of the Christ. And I think about today, and I think about some of the pressures we have. I think about some of the decisions we make, and we don't have near the pressure that many have, but yet we do have pressure. I was sharing how I've made some decisions, and now I really can't back out of those decisions, and I've come to a place where I've kind of overwhelmed myself because of what I have going on. And it's interesting because it isn't that God said or did not say. It's not that. But I made the commitment. So now I'm having to work that out. And what's interesting is there's one thing I did lay down that I also paid for. And I let that pressure go. I just let it go because I couldn't overwhelm myself with that pressure too, But this other has a return of investment in front of it. It has something it's taking me towards. And a year and a half from now, I will have the fruit from that. But I can't lay down all these other matters in my life, hence the pressure. Hence the pressure of me being organized enough to handle all the different things that are happening in my private world and my public world, and still do what God has told me to do. And one of the things he has literally come to me in an encounter, in a dream, and told me to do is to talk about the unconditional love of God, the unconditional forgiveness of God in the global platform of Facebook and the like. Isn't that funny that God would come to me with that kind of agenda? We think, oh, this is just social media, but, there are people that need to hear about the unconditional love of God and the unconditional forgiveness of God, and maybe you're one of them. So, pressure. How do we respond during pressure? There are times when people lose their temper. There are times when people lose their bowels. There are times when people get depressed and sad, and it's their reaction toward pressure. There's times when people lose their cool. And then condemnation comes for losing your cool. Or you need to go and apologize to somebody because you lost your cool. Of course, that's a place of humility to do that. There's such a popular belief right now is you never have to apologize to somebody. And honestly, I just think that's a whole bunch of ego who believes you never have to say I'm sorry. That's just ego, Now, it's also ego if you hold somebody in unforgiveness and waiting for them to come say I'm sorry. That's also equal ego. So it's all about keeping your heart in a place where you're not condemning and you're not feeling condemnation. So I just encourage you that the solution to the condemnation issue is loving yourself. It's receiving the love that comes from the inside of you. And if that love is tainted, if that love is skewed with a bunch of conditions, if that love is always correcting your behavior or someone else's behavior, if the love inside of you is telling you what you've done wrong and where you went wrong, and you're feeling this strong sense of, oh my God, I'm just don't know what to do, then that would not be the voice of God. But at the same time, God could be sharing his heart with you, sharing correction with you, sharing admonition with you. If your reaction is condemnation, that doesn't mean that condemnation came from God. Sometimes we condemn ourselves because we don't know what else to do. We just don't know what else to do. And because we want some kind of action, we want to do something or say something or see something, you know. And so I just encourage you to breathe in and breathe out with simplicity and just receive a place inside of yourself where you know you are loved, and you know there's a place inside of you that wants to love other people with that same place of unconditional forgiveness, unconditional love. It takes place one little step at a time. It doesn't usually take place fast. Because if you've had a lot of trauma in life, if you've had a lot of hurt in life, it may take a moment to access that place. But there is a space inside of you that is filled with unconditional love for you, and unconditional love for your fellow man and woman. There's a place inside of you with unconditional forgiveness for you and unconditional forgiveness for those people around you. It means that maybe I know some that are in a place where they're in such strong pain, you know, they're in such strong, like they feel entrapped. They can't change the circumstances. They're physically unable, they're mentally unable, they're financially unable, and for them, it feels like condemnation is the only answer. Well, it's not the only answer. You need to pull, P-U-L-L, love from you for you, even for your past decisions that were crummy, even for the pressure you're under, which is intense, even for the unforgiveness you have towards yourself or other people. Pull love from you for that space until, you know, when you have a Coca-Cola, you pour Coke in, it's just nothing but dark. But you start pouring water into it, you pour in enough water until that Coke is dissipated and there's nothing but clarity. That's kind of what you need to do regarding the space that you're in, where you're feeling condemned, where you're feeling pain, where you're feeling trapped, where you're feeling you can never go forward. You've got to love yourself where you are, because that's the only solution to finding a door of escape. That's the only, and even if you don't find a doorway of escape, it is such a better place mentally, emotionally, cellularly. It's a better space when you respond from there than if you criticize or condemn yourself or other people. You know, some people are always correcting other people, and yet they think they love themselves. But if you're always correcting somebody, and I'm not talking about lovingly sharing with someone. You know, we have a platform right here where I'm coming from a place of love, and that's part of what the space is for, you know. But in our world, if it's easy to just criticize somebody that's done something wrong, and it's done scathingly, or it's done with ridicule, or it's done with, well, you know what, that's what you get, too bad, so sad. That's not the love of God, you know. And so that shows you don't have love inside your heart for you, because it comes out from you toward other people. That's just truth. So allow yourself to breathe in and breathe out. See love manifesting inside of you. There is already love inside of you, but you need to find it. It's like if you're thirsty, you need to find a bottle of water. You need to find it. And you need to access it. And you need to acquire a taste for that love until you are comfortable with loving yourself in the midst of your mess. Because you will become a message as you love yourself unconditionally. You will become a message as you forgive yourself unconditionally, because you will begin loving other people unconditionally, and you will begin forgiving other people unconditionally. That does not mean that you let someone abuse you mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually. That doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that you just let people get away with murder and harm you or bring you like into a place of smithereens. That's not love. Passivity is not love. You know, being run over like a doormat is not love. That's not you loving yourself. That's not someone loving you. No. I'm saying on the inside of you. Sometimes the greatest love you can show yourself is like, you know what? Not allowing criticism to penetrate you. Just like you don't want criticism to come from your mouth. Not allowing criticism from someone else to come to you. Now, if they love you and you know they love you, they have an unconditional love for you. Y'all been held back together, and you know they love you, and they speak to you. Look, that's different. Their tone may suck, but their love for you has been proved out. You know, you need to look at that and say, God, is this a grain of salt that's good for me? That's something inside of me I need to look at? And pour love in that place that's being pointed out. Because light causes all things to become light, and that light, it brings exposure. But it brings that exposure, it brings the revealing so that we can be healed, so that we can be transformed, so that we can find the love of God in that place, so that we're not just drowning in a place of just total condemnation and entrapment. Breathing in and breathing out. So God, just breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in this light, seeing light penetrate inside your brain and traveling through your body, and breathing out what keeps it from remaining in. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in love, breathing out love. Letting love be the solution. Letting love guide you into solutions for practical problems. You know, letting love give you like solutions for complicated issues. Letting love give you solutions for complex problems. And listening to love lead you over the river and through the woods into the solutions that will help you long term in what seems like impossible situations. I bless you, and I pray that you would trust the God inside you to lead you in this journey so that you feel strength in the midst of feeling like a mess, knowing that you'll be able to look yourself in the mirror one day and say, you know what, I looked messy, but I was a message, and now I see the message. Anyway, I bless you. This is Donna. Until soon, much love. Bye.